that public schools, they follow it. Public schools. Public schools, that has been a gift to us from Britishers. The things began there. Must have heard of the statement, no? Battle of Waterloo has been won at the playgrounds of Eton and Harrow. Must have heard of it? Yes or no? Yes. Ah, very good. If you heard, that's really fine. Now, when I said Eton and Harrow, these are those two best public schools of UK. Best public schools. Public schools, when we talk of course, the system is that they are residential schools, not the day schools. But then every school then thereafter that came up, it was not possible for them to have residence for the students, and it was also not possible for all the students to reside in the school. Both ways. Like people were not able to pay to that extent as there was a demand for it. And then schools, they cannot accommodate every child. It's sometimes not possible. That is why sometimes like day schools, they also started calling themselves public school. And the systems were almost the same. Systems. When we say public schools, residential ones, every one. Earlier 100%, thereafter it went to 80%. 80% of the strength. Otherwise it was all 100%. No day scholars. They all will have their residence, and the systems which were adopted by the schools, they were followed by them. Now, when I said Battle of Waterloo was won at the playgrounds of Eton and Harrow, that speaks of the standard of those two schools. One is a government school, another is a private school. Harrow is a government school, government sponsored, government bears the expenses. Eton school is a private school, but they both are of the same standard. Standard, quality of the education that is being imparted, that speaks of it, that the Battle of Waterloo, which was so decisive for somebody. Napoleon must have heard. Napoleon the Great from France, he wanted to be the king of the world, king of the Europe particularly. From Europe to the world, he wanted to conquer that. And he moved on. He fought many battles and he won also. Lastly, when it came to England and Russia, Austria, Persia, these 4 or 5 countries, that sometimes became a debacle for Napoleon. And that is how many of the students of these two schools, many of the students, they were officers in defense forces. They were in administration. They were the ones, those who took a decision how to plan this strategy to defeat Napoleon. And I tell you, 8 prime ministers of England or other countries, they have been from these two schools. 8. To the extent of Prime Minister, Winston Churchill also has been a student of Harvard. That is how sometimes is a gift to an individual from the school. But the systems should be followed. Once the systems are divided, once the systems are then given to the students of their own, they should accept them. Yes, this is in my interest. This is for me to develop myself as for the design of the school, or as the decision has been taken. And each of those schools, they are divided into various houses. Houses, internal competitions that we decide, or that the school calendar decide, or the curriculum is decided about it, in order to have that competition. And that kind of competitive spirit. And unless you compete, you will not know where you stand and where others stand. That is how sometimes we say, sweat, so that you bleed less in war. If you sweat more in peace, you bleed less in war. It's a famous saying. And in that case, whatever normal timings you have, don't unnecessarily waste. that power of decision making that should reside with you. Am I utilizing all my resources that has been a gift to me from the God, or I'm just wasting? And that is what gift of the school to the students. Confidence of an individual, the power of speaking, the power of communication, and the power of making every faculty yours as a resource to you, and the quality of it to that extent that nothing then is spared to be utilized in later years, on the later days, that you can think of. Am I utilizing all my resources to the fullest extent? And let that famous statement that we perform less than what we can be defeated by you. Defeated. No, let me utilize everything that I have with me. Why should I keep in stock for something? Let it be utilized by you the way systems are being designed by the public schools. And then, when we say division of the school into whatever number of houses the school has taken a decision, like we have 4 houses, identity of yours to that particular house. There is a housemaster. The real leader of the school, I should say, is the housemaster. And then there are tutors. The house further is divided into subdivisions. Ramification is done into those many tutors as we have in a house, those many smaller groups are created in that particular house. Suppose there are 100 students and 5 tutors. Each tutor gets 20 students. And those 20 students, they stay under the proteges of that particular tutor, under the protection, guidance. That is why the name also is house. House, putting them together, and like a family, they are being taken care of by those tutors, those who are there, by that housemaster. Intellectual needs, social needs, cultural needs, and family needs. They are all met in that particular house that has been created. And that is how housemaster is on the top. And then we have other tutors, subject teachers, and all. Every subject need is met. If you have some kind of problems, those tutors are there to help you. Or the other way round also it goes, they go and inquire from each of the child. The academic performance of an individual, that also is known to those tutors. That is how each child, when we say, who is your tutor? That tutor's, house tutor's name should be there. That my tutor is so-and-so. And he or she takes care of you to that extent that they sometimes reach your home also. We get a message from some of the parents sometimes that the child doesn't devote as much time as he should. That also should be known to those tutors. More than the class teacher, I should say so. Because class teacher is academically connected to you, but then that house tutor is connected to you in almost all aspects of a human faculty. All aspects. So be in touch, know who is my tutor from those housemasters and those tutors. This Saturday when we have that meeting, this system also, like though it's not a new system, age-old system, like when we talk of Battle of Waterloo, it was during 1815, it's a long back. So nothing new in it, and we have been following, and these will be followed. Properly implemented will give you a lot of results. If you don't accept and don't follow it up, of course then there are areas also for it. So that is how the house systems, and then April and May, when we have these devoted for literary competitions, we are bound to have recitation, spell bee, extempore, skits, and these kind of competitions planned. Very soon you will find these housemasters, particularly on this Saturday when they have that meeting, they are going to take that decision and share with you.